The fluorescent lights above buzzed faintly, but all Emma could hear was the thud of her own heartbeat. Her badge had been stripped from her uniform, her reputation shredded by a hospital manager who didn't even let her explain. Patients she had cared for, colleagues she had supported, none of it mattered now. She stood in the cold hallway, trembling, as the word fired echoed like a final verdict. What hurt most wasn't the injustice, but the humiliation of being treated like a criminal when she had done nothing wrong. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Emma had always believed that truth had its way of rising, like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. But that night, the storm only thickened. The manager accused her of negligence in a case where the patient's condition had been doomed from the start. Emma had tried everything. Her hands blistered from compressions, her voice hoarse from calling orders. But still, they said it was her fault. She packed her things in silence, her dignity tucked beneath the sound of whispered gossip from nurses too afraid to stand beside her. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. The automatic doors slid open, and in stepped her brother, James. Years of Navy SEAL discipline marked his stride, measured, calm, and filled with a kind of quiet authority that silenced the room before he even spoke. He hadn't been home in months, not since his last deployment. Emma froze, her eyes filling with tears. She hadn't called him. He must have heard. James scanned the hallway, his eyes locking on the trembling figure of his sister. And then he turned his gaze toward the office where the manager sat smugly behind glass. The air itself seemed to still, heavy with anticipation. Whispers rippled through the crowd. That's her brother? Who is he? The manager rose, irritated, dismissive. This is a private matter, he barked, but James didn't flinch. He stepped forward with the quiet dominance of a man used to facing firestorms. His voice was low, steady, but every syllable carried weight. Private? You destroyed her name in front of everyone. That's not private. That's cowardice. The silence was deafening. Even the ticking clock seemed to pause. Emma's chest ached, caught between fear and relief. The manager tried to protest, waving papers as if bureaucracy could shield him. She mishandled a patient. She saved more lives than you'll ever count. James cut in, his voice sharp as steel. You sit in an office. She bleeds on the floor. Gasps fluttered through the hall. Nurses nodded subtly. Patients. Families edged closer, their faces lit with something Emma hadn't felt all night. Support. James didn't raise his fists. He didn't need to. He laid out facts with precision, his words like coordinated strikes. He named the witnesses, recalled the timeline, described the patient's irreversible condition with the clarity of someone who'd studied combat medicine himself. The crowd shifted, murmurs rising into a tide of agreement. Truth was no longer silent. It roared. For the first time, the manager faltered. His face flushed red, his voice stumbled. Power slipped from his grasp as the weight of witnesses, of justice, of her brother's unwavering presence pressed down like an unrelenting wave. Finally, the board members, who had gathered to watch the chaos unfold, stepped in. Papers were pulled back. A decision reversed. Emma's badge was returned to her hand. Her fingers shook as she held it, but this time the tremor was not fear. It was release. She looked at her brother, her voice barely a whisper. How did you know? James smiled faintly, his eyes softening. I always know when you're in the fight of your life. And in that moment, Emma realized something bigger. Then her job had been restored. Her dignity, her voice, her belief that justice, though late, still came. Because justice doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And sometimes, it walks in wearing Navy SEAL boots. So remember this. Storms may strip away everything, but truth, once spoken, has the power to rebuild. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us of the courage we carry and the justice we deserve.